We want to build the #1 international baseball league.
Oh, what a catch! What a catch, baby!
Like I said, I feel blessed.
The pitcher grabbed by Schlitter goes for the force of the plate.
Ground ball, double play, game over. Wow!
This is a money ball, gentlemen, and this. Money ball!
Back at it again with the Baseball United podcast. This is your host, Liam Skiffington. It's a super exciting episode for you guys today as we are joined by a super special player in our league, the first ever draft pick from the Mumbai Cobras, Mr. Karan Patel. Karan, it's absolutely fantastic to see you again, man. How's everything been going?
Everything's good. Thanks for having me on the show.
Of course, man, of course. So last time I saw you, it was November of last year. So what have you been up to since then?
I was basically been training in the off season, and then now I'm playing independent ball in the American Association for the Lincoln Salt Dogs.
How's that been going?
It's going good. I had a little rough stretch in the middle-ish of the season, but everything's cleaned up since then, so everything's going in the right direction.
There we go. When's the independent league season end?
Our last game is September 4th or 5th, something like that. And then playoffs.
Okay, so you got about a month left.
Yeah.
Cool.
The final stretch.
Very cool. So Karan, we've got a lot to cover today. But I do want to start with your background. So you grew up in Houston, Texas, and I know that you grew up playing both cricket and baseball. What was that like for you? Tell me a little bit about that.
I think it was growing up. It was a good way to get away from one game or the other. You know, both sports can be hard, and my getaway was going to play the other one. So I think obviously they benefited for me on the field on both sides, both games, but just that getaway refresh moment, I think that's one of them.
How did you get into playing cricket?
It was my dad. So my dad grew up back in India, was born there, and when he came over here, he played cricket as well, played for the USA national team, and so growing up, it was always cricket first. So like since I was probably 1 year old, he would take me with him to the cricket ground when he was playing, and so I was just around it my whole life.
So I actually met your dad last year at the showcase. He's a great guy. Shout out Mr. Patel. So at what point in your childhood or your youth, Karan, did you fully go into baseball?
It was probably full baseball once I was about 17, 18, about going to college when I signed to go to UTSA. That was when the switch happened. That summer going into college, I actually represented the USA Under-19 team for the World Cup qualifiers in cricket, and then got picked again to go in January of 2016. But my college coach ended up saying, hey, you need to choose. Do you want to go play cricket, or do you want to get ready for our upcoming season? So then I made the choice of probably stick with baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. So, wow. So I would guess that your college coach didn't just injury prevention, right? Probably didn't want you to get worn out for their season.
I think I was a big part of what they were planning for the upcoming season, and he just didn't want me to lose that valuable 6 weeks we have prepping for opening day. And it was my freshman season, so you know, they just wanted me to stay near and kind of just get better, and end up being the Saturday starter as a freshman.
So, like you said, you went to the University of Texas San Antonio. What was that experience like for you?
It was amazing. I mean, when I was looking at schools, I was looking for something that was a little closer to home. San Antonio is about 3 hours from Houston, and it was a big city. The campus was nice, and everything was close to each other. And just everything I was kind of looking for, they had there for me. And then the field was nice, and, you know, you get to fly everywhere. You hear all these stories from guys that play college baseball in Texas and the other conferences that have to drive everywhere on the bus. But we got to fly because most of our conference opponents were on the East Coast.
Got it. So I actually want to rewind a little bit. You mentioned that you played for the Team USA cricket team. You were selected. I believe there's only there's only 14 people selected for that team, right?
Yeah, there's 14, and then they'll have a couple reserves just in case if somebody gets hurt.
So what was that experience like for you, being able to play the sport that you grew up, one of the sports you grew up loving, and representing
Yeah, I mean,
the USA?
representing your country is always a big deal. I mean, I made the most of it, but just being able to live out my dad's dream, I think, because beginning when I started playing cricket, it felt forced because my dad wanted me to play with him. But then I started falling in love with the game. And then once I fell in love with it, just going out there and, getting to represent your country, not many can do it. Like you said, only 14 kids got, picked to go to Bermuda. And then 14 got picked to go to Malaysia in 2016. And so just to be a part of that is a huge honor, to represent the country. And then I got to do it a little bit earlier in my career. Back in 2012, we played in Florida. That was my first time. So it all kind of worked out in the long run.
Forgive me, Karan, I'm not sure. How did you guys do in that tournament?
So in the 2015, we actually ended up tying with Canada on and so we had to go to that qualifier. The winner of the first qualifier went straight to the World Cup. And then since we got second, they sent us to a second qualifier, and then they didn't end up winning the second qualifier, so they were out.
Wow. So Karan, I mean, cricket is blowing up in the U.S. I know the USA team just recently beat Pakistan in I can't remember the tournament. Help me out.
It's the ICC T20 World Cup.
Okay, yeah, the ICC 20 World Cup. So yeah, Team USA, huge upset over Pakistan. What can you say about how cricket has blown up in this country since from the time you grew up?
Yeah, I mean, I always tell the kids when I go back home that I do a lot of like fielding and throwing sessions for the cricket kids back home, and I always tell them, you guys are blessed. Because when I was growing up, there was not many kids in my area. I had to play against adults since I was 13. You guys actually get to go through the ranks, kind of like baseball, and play your age group until it's time to play the next level. And the facilities are getting better and better. The game's growing. And now they got Major League Cricket. They had the T20 World Cup. So it's only going to grow.
It seems like now there's more levels, more structure to cricket in the U.S. than there was when you're growing up, if I'm interpreting that correctly.
Yeah, I think just how it's scaled and how all these pros are coming from overseas and moving to America, and they're starting to play here. They're finally getting that infrastructure and that backing to kind of grow the game from youth up, instead of when I was playing, it was, you play in your local leagues and then your leagues submit players to the country to go for like the trials. But now they have every step of the way. Like, let's say if we're doing under 16s, they got their city level, then they got state level, then they create a state team and they compete against all the other state or region teams and compete against those region teams, and then they make the squad. So they have more opportunities to go out there and show what they can do, compared to we had about 3 days to show them what we can do, and if you performed, you were in. If you didn't, you were out.
Wow, that's cutthroat.
Yeah.
So, Karan, I have to assume you were a bowler when you played cricket?
Yeah, I was. My first time I was a leg spin bowler, and then the second time after the first time I realized there was no fast bowlers, so I had to really convince my dad and tell him, look, if I want to make it again, there's a lot of spinners in the line, but there's no fast bowlers, so I think I need to make a change in direction. And he was with it.
What's the difference in the velocity of what you would bowl compared to what you pitch, if you know?
I would probably say I'm in the low mid 70s to low 80s, I think. Just it's different. I think I would have to get into better shape, get into cricket shape, I guess, not baseball pitching shape. And so that compared to 94, 95, I mean, it's drastic, but I think if I can learn how to tap into that mechanically, it should kind of translate through.
Do you think that growing up playing cricket helped with your baseball development?
Yeah, I do. Actually, I never thought about it this way, but many scouts when I was in high school would always, pro scouts would tell me like your arm slot and the way you spin the ball, everything is like beneficial because of cricket, having that higher slot. So just me having naturally that higher slot and going back and forth growing up playing both sports, I think it kind of just helped me keep my arm in shape, keep a cleaner arm path, injury prevention. I think all of that kind of worked in my favor.
Interesting. So we mentioned earlier you made history as our first ever draft pick to the Mumbai Cobras. You also made a little bit of MLB history, being the first person of Indian American descent to be drafted by the Chicago White Sox. What was that day like for you?
That day was a little bit crazy. I tried not to think about it. I mean, everyone has an idea like if they're going to get picked or not. But I just try to keep myself busy. So started off the day, woke up, ate breakfast, and then I contacted my buddy. I was like, hey, let's go work out. I don't want to sit around like, and watch the draft tracker or watch the TV. And so I ended up actually having to get gas first. So I went to the gas station and I had a number call me. It was from Chicago. I was like, this is random. I should probably answer it. So I answered it, and it was the White Sox. They called me in the third round saying, hey, we're going to take you in the seventh. So just be prepared. But, as the draft goes on, sometimes people say one thing and somebody else is on the board and they take somebody else. So I kind of just stayed busy, went to the gym, and we were working out. And then the Twitter notification went off that I got picked, and my buddy had his notifications on. And then he just started yelling from across the gym. I'm like, are you okay? Did you die? And then he ran over. He's like, dude, you got drafted. I was like, no way. I got to go. Cut the lift, got in the car, and then went home to go see the family and celebrate.
That's crazy. It's interesting to me that they were like, be prepared. How did you interpret that?
Honestly, I was like, all right, maybe they will pull the trigger, maybe they won't. But they also told me to turn off my phone so no other teams could contact me. So I had turned off my phone, and the teams were trying to contact me, but I ended up having my pitching coach that I worked with in high school was my advisor at the time. And so they were all blowing his phone up, and then he couldn't get a hold of me either. So it just kind of just went through, and, it was all for the best. The White Sox wanted me out of high school, and then they got me 4 years later.
Wow. So you go home, you tell mom and dad, everyone's celebrating. What was that the next 24 hours like? Like, when did you eventually go to pro ball after you got drafted?
Yeah, so the scout that was watching me since my senior year of high school came over. He's actually he's a close family friend at this point. Just he's been with me every part of my career. He came over, brought over the paperwork. We signed everything, and then I think it was like 2 days later, flew out to Arizona. We had all of our physicals and a couple of days of practices and bullpens, and then flew up to Great Falls, Montana to start my professional career.
And what would you say? What do you have to say about your time in the minor leagues? What was it like for you?
I think it was a lot of growing, coming from being in college and you pitch a certain style because that's how the coach liked it, to where now coach is not calling the pitches. Here it's you and the catcher, and the game plan is kind of set for you. Like, this is how you need to throw, this is how we need to execute. And if you tick all the boxes, you'll move up. So I think buying into some of it was good, and also buying into some of it was bad. The philosophies and ways, I think, if I could go back, I would probably stick to who I was and adapt some of their plans that they wanted me to do. But buying fully in kind of cut my career short with them.
You certainly had more access to information during pro ball, I have to assume.
Yeah.
Are you, Karan, a super analytical guy? Like, are you just looking at scouting reports before a start or anything like that? Or are you kind of just more of a feel guy, go out there and shove?
Yeah, I'm more of a feel guy and shove. I'm the type of person that has full faith in the catcher, unless there's some other pitch I'm feeling at that moment. But when the plan is there, the catcher sees a lot more than I see. he gets to see the swing path from behind. He gets to see what they've done prior days, like, and so for me, if I have a full scouting report, I think I would go insane. Just too many numbers. I like analytics. I understand the analytics, but I don't think it's the end all be all for me. It's different for everybody, but for me, I like to see a little bit of what they are good at doing and then still stick to my strengths.
Absolutely. Karan, what do you think translates better? Cricket bowlers to pitchers or cricket hitters to baseball batters?
I would say that's a tough one. If you flipped the question, it would have been easier. I could have answered that in a heartbeat. A baseball hitter would definitely be a better cricket batter. But if you want to put it in the other direction, I would say, oh, man, I would have to go with the cricket bowler. Just because to teach the mechanics is easy because they already throw the ball from the outfield. But having a cricket batter who can hit the ball 360 degrees, now keep that ball fair within the lines, is going to be a little bit harder.
Absolutely. So, Karan, like we said, you were drafted to the Mumbai Cobras. Your parents are both from India. What was that like for you to be drafted by the first franchise in your parents' home country?
Yeah, it was a dream come true. I think when Cash was speaking about this league, we didn't know much or what was going to happen until, the draft came around. But to go, my dad grew up in Mumbai. He has property out there. My grandma's from there, or his mom. So it's an honor to kind of represent him, and give another reason for why I should continue to keep playing and prolong a career.
And now we recently announced our three big events coming up: our full season, the BU Cup, and the Arab Classic. What do you think about those events, and what was your reaction when you saw the news?
Yeah, I think it's when I saw the news, it was very exciting. Everyone was waiting to see what we were going to do, and the fact that the BU Cup is happening and everyone gets to go out there with something on the line. Everyone wants to win some kind of hardware. It's kind of when you're playing indie ball or playing, in the big leagues or minor leagues, you play for the ring, and now in this situation, we're playing for the cup. It's a lot of bragging rights. It's the first one ever. When it comes to the Arab series, I think that's exciting for, all the prospects and players in those regions that get to, play on a professional surface. When we played out there, that place was amazing. So just to be able to see them go out there and play and kind of, grow, they're growing the game as well. The more people that come to watch those series, the more people will come watch us when we get up there in February and back in October. So, and then when we get to the full season, I mean, that's what everyone's living for, right? We've been waiting for this moment to go out there and play for a longer period than 2 games that we did last year. And I think Cash said it was 4 to 6 games per team in the Cup. And so now we get to have a full season and get multiple opportunities to go out there and kind of show everybody what you got.
It's interesting. The Baseball United Cup is going to be the first time a professional baseball franchise will play games in that region. So what's it like for you to be a part of that?
Yeah, I think just being able to go to a different region and play baseball is a dream come true. We've always played in the States. Going to Dubai was my first time playing baseball outside of the country. Sorry. And I think being able to go over there and play in front of that crowd again, I had so much fun. That one out the second game that I got to start, even the first game, watching, Akshay throw, and then the second game Saurabh threw, just even being around them, that was a lot of fun too.
Yeah, let's dive into that a little bit. So like we said, you were the first Indian American drafted in MLB. You got to share the field with the two top pitchers from India, Akshay Moore and Saurabh Gaikwad. What was that like for you, and what were kind of the conversations that you guys had when you were over there during the showcase?
Yeah, I think on both sides, I really enjoyed being around them, and I think they kind of looked up to me, and I just wherever I went, I kind of brought them with me, took them with me. And then we were just talking pitching, mechanics, you know, just a little bit here and there. And then ended up when they showed up, they didn't have like cleats and stuff. And I actually brought extra stuff for all of them. And it kind of worked out. They were the same size as me. So just giving back to them, that was awesome too. Ended up giving them my bands, my plyos, spikes, balls, whatever they needed for them to go kind of hit this off season strong for them.
That's awesome, man. That's absolutely awesome. So they had the opportunity to share the field during the showcase with some great players. You, during your minor league career, certainly came across some great players at one point or another. But what was it like for you to share basically an entire weekend, a 2-game series, with so many baseball legends?
Yeah, I think the first couple of days I was a little starstruck. But the more I got to know the guys, the more you hang out with them, regardless of Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer, minor leaguer, everyone was all inclusive. And it felt like a family. So I think it was just a lot of fun, and not many can say they're turning around. They have Didi Gregorius and Robinson Cano as their middle infield. So that was a fun day for sure.
Right. Who would you say, Karan, starstruck you the most? Like when you walked onto the field, you saw this person, your heart kind of skipped a beat a little bit.
I think it has to be Robbie, just because growing up, all you saw was that left-handed swing on any social media or video, and then getting to see it that first day at BP, just to see the swing in person. I was literally sitting on the ground just watching balls. I was like, this is awesome.
It's crazy, man. Crazy. So I was part of the content team last year that flew over to Dubai for this showcase. And when they brought us to the field the first day, all 10, 11 of us walking through the hallway, we stop at the locker room. Robbie Cano comes out, greets all of us, is chopping it up with everyone. And like, I typically don't get starstruck, especially when it comes to baseball players. I'm a Red Sox fan. I grew up watching Robbie Cano torment the Red Sox. So it was such a surreal start to such a historic weekend and memorable weekend.
Yeah, I mean, Robbie was fantastic. Jair, Didi, Bartolo. I think all the guys that were there is a really good group, and it's a good group to grow with. I mean, if you go and look at what Robbie's doing in Mexico, he's tearing it up down there.
He's killing it. He's killing it.
That's all I hear, even in the locker room here in Lincoln. Everyone's like, this dude has 100 hits already. He's got 100 something, or like almost 100 RBIs. I'm like, yeah, he could still play if he wanted to today.
Oh yeah, that swing age as well, man.
Yeah, and then even getting to hang out with them in Cincinnati when we went for the photo shoot stuff. Even then, they were all very inclusive. Like, I was even more starstruck and shy then. When I met everybody the first time, it was me and my dad, and I was just kind of quiet sitting in the back of the van hearing everybody share their stories. So it was an awesome experience there too.
That's crazy, man. I think it was also during the showcase and just in general here at Baseball United, the diversity we have among the players on the field from all different countries, you name it, Dominican, Venezuela, Puerto Rico, everywhere, man. I think that's going to be one of the keys to the long-term success of our league.
Yeah, I think they do a really good job with, getting everybody from different regions a chance, especially like the Ugandan catcher that we brought in.
Dennis Kasumba.
Yes, and just hearing guys, I didn't get to throw it to him, but the guys that were warming up to him in the bullpen were like, this kid can catch. Just being able to share a field with him. You don't never think in your career that this kind of things would happen, but this league is based on the players and getting players from different countries and giving them an opportunity to play. And I think that's going to be a huge part of Baseball United.
On the Dennis Kasumba topic, he was one of everybody over there was so grateful to be there, it seemed, whether it was a Robbie Cano or a Dennis Kasumba who's never experienced professional baseball before. It was so refreshing to see how everybody in the organization, on the field, came together for this goal to make history and grow this game that's given us all so much.
Yeah, I think just the way that we're handling the game and how they're putting everything up, this game is going to grow and it's going to grow fast. And there's so many people that want to be a part of this league. I think I get people daily asking me, hey, how do I get in? Who do I need to talk to? And this is from like big leaguers down to indie ball guys. And it's just everyone knows about it. I think you saw some of those all-star game videos when people they were asking, have you ever heard of Baseball United? I mean, the word is to the top. Everyone knows about the league, and now it's just time for us to go out there and play.
Right. And like you said, everybody wants to be a part of it. And I think one of the great things about our league is that, yes, everyone wants to be a part of it, but you're only really going to be a part of it if you're the right fit. Our leadership has talked about that before. Like they're looking for high quality, high character players to be a part of the league for this greater mission.
Yeah, I think, regardless of your talent, the kind of person you are is what's going to help you grow the game. You could be a really good player, but if you're a bad person off the field, nobody's going to want to be around you. And I think the way they chose the guys, everyone wanted to be around everyone. There was not a moment where I was like, oh, I need a second. I'm drained. I want to go to my room. No, I was, oh, yeah, where y'all going? Oh, come too. Let's go here. Let's go there. So I think just that the way they handled, choosing the players, they did the right thing right there.
When you've had the original conversation with Cash about this league, Karan, what drew you to it?
Just another opportunity to play the game. And Cash is very good. He's very good at talking. And the way he was explaining what this league is going to do and how is it going to be run and what the mission is, I was sold instantly. And the fact that he said we're going to have an Indian team, a team from Pakistan, and then he didn't announce anything after that. But just hearing that, oh, there's going to be a team from India, I want to play. I want to represent, my other country and play the game for them. So I was sold immediately. There wasn't a moment where I doubted a thing he said.
Got it. So in baseball, Karan, the best managers get the most talent out of their players. I think the same holds true for our CEO and chairman, Cash Sheikh, in that he gets the best out of everyone, whether it's a player, whether it's me, whether it's anyone in the organization. And he's so good at being a leader and so good at kind of rallying the troops and inspiring people to be the best version of themselves that they can, again, in order for this greater mission.
Yeah, I think Cash, when he takes accountability on both sides, when things are good and when things go bad. Obviously, it's not going to be smooth, and there's been setbacks throughout the process, but he's a very good leader. He's very vocal. He's very out there with the ups and the downs and keeping everybody in the loop of this is what we're trying to do. He's very good on the social media side. Like, there's some of these videos they're putting out are incredible. You're just like, how did you guys do this? And then, you have guys behind the scenes like JV, you got Garen, and then obviously you guys. I think he's just, like you said, he's able to get the best out of everyone. It doesn't matter if you're a player or if you're, comes down to even the clubby that we had when we went up there. Even he was bought in. So I think just the way Cash holds himself as a person and the way he runs his business and how he takes his day-to-day is the reason why we're here like this today.
One of Cash's talents is to inspire people. And it's just so incredible to see firsthand how he does that, regardless of if it's a Hall of Fame baseball player, all the way to someone like me who hosts the podcast. It's insane. And he also demands that everyone in the organization, again, regardless of status, upholds the same principles.
Yeah. The first time I got to meet Cash in person at his house and he gave one of those inspirational speeches, about what this league is going to be, I had goosebumps. We were sitting outside in his driveway. Everyone was there, and I had goosebumps. I was like, man, this is going to be good. And then from there, even what happened in Dubai with Thanksgiving and how he handled that, and in the locker room, the inspirational speeches there, just getting everybody on board of what we're here to do and what we're here to accomplish. I just hats off to him.
It's crazy. Karan, what are you most excited about coming up within the next year as it relates to our league?
I'm really excited, to see how the BU Cup goes. We all played as one. We were just Baseball United, regardless if it was East or West for the showcase. But now we're into 4 teams. Yes, it's still about Baseball United, but then it gets a little centralized, like, hey, the Cobras want to win this cup. So we're going to have to, we'll be friends off the field, but on the field, we might have to be a little sour to each other. And the same thing for the full season when we get back out there in October.
How quickly, Karan, do you think there will be rivalries formed between these squads?
I think it'll happen quickly. Probably when we get back in October, when we get back out there, I think there'll be a couple rivalries. Just the fans will be able to create some energy from the outside, and even the players. Like, there's a handful of guys from Baseball United that are playing in the American Association where I'm playing at. So just getting to face them, the little juices we have going against each other, there's already a little rivalry going on. It's nothing crazy, but that sense of competition and wanting to do even better because you're facing somebody that you're going to have to play again. It's always fun.
Right. Karan, what would be your message to the kids in India who are looking up to guys like you, guys like Akshay Moore, guys like Saurabh Gaikwad, and want to be professional baseball players?
I would say just keep practicing, regardless of failure. Just keep riding the success and keep trying to get better every day, just like how we are. We're not perfect either, and we've made it to whatever level we have, and we have to keep, working hard, keeping in our bodies in shape, doing everything right to be able to stay on the field and keep playing. At the end of the day, it is just a game. So just go out there, have fun, compete, and see where it takes you.
You said something earlier, Karan, that's been in the back of my mind. You mentioned how in the U.S. there's a lot more resources put behind cricket now, and that's also one of our goals with Baseball United, putting resources behind professional baseball, even at the baseball at the youth level in all of these countries in the Middle East and South Asia. What do you have to say on that for a minute?
Yeah, I think the more that we can give back to them and the more they get to see us play, I think they will get more inspired, and that's will lead into those facilities that we have put up to get used. I think what I see here from the cricket side, I get to play with some of the pros or against them, and when we're playing in the league or when I'm playing minor league, some of them I'm on the same team as them. And just the way, when they first got here, how the facilities were, and now how much success they bring to this country. Just them 18 to 20 guys have kind of changed how the country looks in that sport. So I think when we're going to the Middle East or South Asia, I think we could do the same, if not more, because when it comes to baseball, there's not a lot you have to put up per se. A field and some cages and probably some coaches and some equipment here and there, but giving them those resources, I think kids would appreciate it and they would use it. And at the end of the day, they're going to get better just by being on that field or in those cages.
What does it mean to you to be an inspiration to these kids in India and that region, being a professional baseball player?
I really appreciated that my hard work kind of paid off for the next generation. They have somebody to look up to. Growing up, not many kids played sports. Even American-born South Asians, like, it was all about studies, the books. But being that oddball, I guess you can say, kind of gets people, parents or kids' minds thinking, oh, maybe if I'm good at this, I can make it a career. I've had plenty of people DM me on Instagram or Twitter saying, hey, my kid is just like you. He's South Asian, born in America. he's struggling right now. He needs some motivation. Can you talk to him for a second? Or can you send him a text? And I'm like, sure, like anything, to give back, because that's all it is as we move forward, we should give back so the next generation can get better and do better than what we did.
You have to get goosebumps when you get messages. I have goosebumps right now. You have to get goosebumps when you get messages like that, right?
Yeah, no, I do. And it's, you asked me at 21, when I was 21 years old, did I ever think this would happen? I would say no. I didn't even know I made history until after the draft. My dad told me. I was like, oh, that wasn't a goal. The goal was to get to the, MLB first. And so just being able to, for me, giving back, every time I'm home, I'm helping out kids that don't even ask for help. They're just there, and I'm just out there. I'm like, I like to help. Let me help you. If you don't want it, say no. But if you do, I'm here. Just call me. So that's just the kind of person I am, and it's worked out so far.
And that's the exact kind of person we here at Baseball United want as a part of the organization. And I'm sure you've seen that across all of the guys you've interacted with it on the field, off the field, everything.
Yeah, it's almost like everyone's the same person, kind of, with their own flair here and there of who they are. But, digging down, everyone's the same. They want to give back. They also want to prolong their career, but they also want to give back to the next generation, because at some point we're going to be done playing. And once we're done playing, we're going to look back and look at Baseball United every winter and be like, we started that, and then watch the league grow.
Absolutely. Karan, one last question before we let you go. Can you give me your Mount Rushmore of pitchers?
Oh, man. All right. Just one of them would be Nolan Ryan, for sure. I think just from his bloody battles and the kind of pitcher he is, it's fun, always fun to watch him. I'm a big fan of Justin Verlander, so he would have to be up there. Number 3 for me, another guy I watch a lot is DeGrom. I know he's had a bunch of health issues, but when he's on the mound, he is disgusting. And the 4th guy, that's a tough one. I'm trying to think, even back in the day, who I liked watching Andy Pettit and Roy Oswalt, just being from Houston, and those guys, the Astros weren't that great, so tickets were cheap. So it was fun to go out there and kind of catch a game for not a lot of money. So I think that would have to be my Mount Rushmore.
I love it, man. I love it. KP, thank you so much for joining us today, and I'm sure I'll talk to you sometime down the line. Best of luck the rest of the season.
Thank you for having me, and I'll see you soon.